Seated, everyone. Welcome back. Jury. Are you ready to proceed?
I am, Your Honor. Thank you. Detective, when we were wrapping it up right before lunch, I think you had just finished testifying about a photograph that you found on the defendant's phone. Do you recall that testimony?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. At some point later on that evening, obviously the defendant left the Hampshire Police Department, correct? Okay. And when it was time for him to go, how did he get home?
I gave him his phone and asked him if I could provide some calls father in case we need the side.
Okay. Okay. Did at the time when you received that, the forensic extraction of his cell phone, did you receive his cell phone back as well?
Yes, I got the cell phone back. Forensic extraction was true back.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to take a look at what's been marked for identification of State's Exhibit number 178. And I'm going to ask you to take a look at the label on that.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recognize that package?
Yes, I do.
Did you create that label?
Yes, I did.
Okay, can you just open up the package and take a look inside? And what's that you have in your hand there?
The iPhone 6.
Okay, whose iPhone is that?
The defendant's.
Judge, I'm going to move that into evidence, unless there's an objection.
No,
No objection to leaving it in evidence.
Just to clarify, when the defendant left the police station that night with his father, he took his iPhone with him at that time, correct?
that's correct.
Where did you go after the defendant left the police department?
After the defendant left the police department, I went to Smith and Donna's house.
And where's that located?
1,000 block of America.
Stonehead Township?
Yes, ma'am.
Approximately how far is that from the defendant's apartment?
1.1 miles.
And who did you speak with at Sam's house that evening?
I spoke to Samantha, William Holshoe, Jason Collins, and Danielle Collins.
Okay, and who's William Holshoe?
He is Samantha's boyfriend.
And who are Danielle and Jason Collins?
Danielle is Samantha's mother, and Jason is his stepfather.
During the course of your conversation with these four individuals, did you also ask them to provide buccal swabs?
Yes, I did.
And did they all agree to do that?
Yes, I did.
Judge, I think there's a stipulation for the consent forms. I'm just going to move them into evidence unless there's an objection.
Stipulates for so we're dealing with S-164, 165, 166, and 167.
That is correct.
They would be admitted by stipulation.
Thank you. Okay, so to your knowledge, was the crime scene investigation unit going to do any work on this case after dark that first night? Because we're still on Tuesday.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what's your understanding of what was going to occur?
They were going to travel the same route that the K-9 had made earlier that day to locate Brendan.
Okay, and do you know what time that was supposed to happen?
It was sometime later in the evening.
Okay, was it going to be in the middle of the night?
Yes.
Did you participate in that at all?
No, I did not.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to move ahead now to the day after Brendan was located, on Wednesday, October the 14th. What was your plan for continuing your investigation that first day?
The plan was to bring Julie Stensky back for a follow-up interview.
Okay. And what else?
And to canvass for additional surveillance video in the area.
Why did you want to talk to Julia Stensky again?
I was notified by one of the assistant prosecutors in the homicide unit that she had a public blog post, and there were several entries made by her.
Okay. And where was that blog posted?
On Tumblr.
Okay. And can you tell us, what is a blog to begin with?
It's like a social media site where you post like journals or blogs
And who is that accessible to?
to the public.
Okay. And you indicated it was on Tumblr?
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
you tell us what Tumblr is?
It's a social media site. It's a blogging website.
And who can access Tumblr?
Anybody.
All right, were you able to locate this blog?
Yes, I was.
And what was the name of the blog?
Julie's Funny Stuff.
When you located this blog, what made you think it belonged to Julie Stensky?
There was entries that made reference to the defendant's father's business, and Julie herself, and Brendan.
Okay, specifically, one of the entries was called, I'm going to have to refer to it by its number, I apologize. Judge, can I correct the witness with items number 170, 171, 172, and 173?
You may. I'm just looking for sure.
It's been marked for identification as State's Exhibit number 170. Do you recognize that?
Yes, ma'am.
What is that?
The blog post from Rhodes, that's it.
Okay, or you believe it to be Joyce, that's
Yes.
correct? All right, can you tell us, what is the title of that blog?
Where we stand now?
Okay, and that was a blog that was dated September 1st, 2015, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next one, I'm going to go to State's Exhibit number 170. Do you recognize that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what is that?
It's another blog post, which the title is Creato Windows.
Okay, and generally speaking, what's the subject matter of that post?
It discusses how that she's upset with working at Creato Windows and that she wasn't paid.
Okay, and then State's Exhibit number 172. Can you tell us what is the date on that and what is the title of that?
It's October 13, 2015. The title is Dear Brendan.
And then, and does that deal with the death of Brendan Creato?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then State's Exhibit number 173. What's that? What's the title on 173?
It is alone. It's dated October 15th.
That was after you had taken a statement from Ms. Stensky.
Yes, ma'am.
At the time when you viewed those blogs, did you make efforts to preserve them?
Yes, I did.
What did you do to do that?
I screenshot them on my computer and saved it with my hard drive.
Okay. And can you explain for the jurors, in case anyone's unaware, what is a screenshot?
Hit the print screen button, and then from there it saves the entire image of the screen. And depending on the blog, you have to scroll down and continue to save additional screens. So it will be placed on my hard drive later into evidence.
Judge, I think that's a sufficient foundation to move them into evidence.
No.
Okay,
No
move
objection.
on forward.
They'll be admitted into evidence.
Detective, sorry, Judge, can I have just a moment? Before I get to the canvas, actually, can I have those back? Detective, I'm gonna handle 170, which is now on evidence. I realize that it was a little bit lengthy, but could you read that for us, please?
Tell you where we stand now. Okay. How do you expect this relationship to work when you're tied down, bad, you refuse to look for and or apply legit solutions to your problems? You close up to me when you're angry or upset. You snap at me and accuse me of not trusting you when I ask you to explain yourself. I am my own person with my own responsibilities and goals. My only real responsibility right now is to get an education and secure a well-paying job. That's it. If anything's tying me down, it's that. Which is why I will definitely be in New York until 2019. When I graduate with my bachelor's, that's it. Then I can and will go wherever life takes me. But you're tied down to New Jersey forever. You'll never be able to leave. Your entire life is that fucking state, and it's all because of your mistake, meaning your kid. Yes, I view the kid as a mistake, and you told me it wasn't planned, so I'll never view him as anything different. He might be a great kid and turn out to be a great human being, whatever, but he still is a mistake. Your mistake, as well as your ex's. Because of him, you two are tied to each other because both insist on being in that kid's life, exact same amount. Here's the problem. If I stay with you, then I tie myself down to you and your mistake, meaning it becomes my mistake too. No, it's not my kid, it never will be. I'll remind you that every day we're together, but if I'm tied down to you and you're tied down to him, I become tied down to him through you. Here's the tricky part. You choose to tie yourself down like that. You're not legally obligated to do that, to do what you're doing, and you don't have to. You choose to, and you make it seem like there's only one option: either be okay with your situation or leave. Wait to come to a rational compromise. If you really want to be with me as much as you claim you do, if you really love me like you say you do, you wouldn't give me such choices. Because there are solutions out there that don't tie you down, but make sure you spend a lot of time with your kid. Here's the best one I've heard. Since he's going to be in school, get a lawyer and figure out who's going to live with during the school year. Either you or your ex. And whoever he doesn't live with during that time will stay with during his break. The U.S. school year contains a lot of breaks. Some of them are quite lengthy, taking spring, summer, and winter break, and even Thanksgiving. There are also plenty of shorter ones. That way, both of you will be in the kid's life. But neither of you are tied down and can live legit normal lives. Also, if you get a lawyer involved and figure this out legally, you'll barely have to talk to your ex. Hell, I'll pay the court lawyer costs myself if that's what I'll take. Because you know that I hate the fact that her number is saved in your phone. This is a solution that makes sense, and I know it is because I'm friends with kids who come from broken homes. And that's something they say, you know, their parents live far apart from each other, the kids still grow up normally. And realize that both of their birth parents love them equally. So I don't see why yours wouldn't have the same outcome. But if you refuse to look at legit solutions, including that one, you say it's either my way or the highway. Well, two will play that game, and both will lose. You say you won't do that, then I say we'll break up if I have to leave New Jersey. And if we somehow end up staying together until marriage, you'll never get a kid from me, ever. Not happening. One is more than enough in my opinion. But the better reason is, since you give me such options to deal with my situation or leave, I'll give you the same. Deal with my decision or walk out the door. Like I said, two will play that equal game, and both will lose. It's not a question of if but when. Relationships should be built around stubborn, hard-headed people and no compromises will ultimately fail. And if you won't change, then I guess we should break up now. Before both of us fall down that rabbit hole and hurt ourselves over this new relationship. I'm open to conversation, and that's why I'll change my mind 1,000 times before I make my final decision. I want to hear all the sides and look at all the solutions and compromises. And I consider myself open-minded enough to see when someone makes a really good argument and wins. That happens, and I accept it when it does. And if I want something to work, like this relationship, I'll do everything in my power to make it work. I'll pay to get on the train and back every weekend. I'll make that 1.5-hour commute one way and back, and I'll give up my weekends in the city so that I will be with you. When I had a car, I drive an hour to get to you and spend $20 every other day in gas just so that I can spend a few hours with you. I'm willing to piss off my parents for the sake of this relationship, because in the end, it's my happiness that matters. When it comes to a relationship, and you know why I'm willing to do that, and possibly more, because I think I legit love you. Like I can see myself having a future with you, because you make me very happy, both physically and emotionally, for the most part. You know, the thing that gets me to board the train back to New York every time with a smile on my face is the fact that I'll see you again soon. That's my main motivation for not just sitting there crying like an attention-seeking whore. And my motivation for going back is for my classes, where it's a different kind of motivation. And because you make me so happy, I'm willing to do that for you. I can only hope you'll do the same, but I guess not. I told you I'm willing to do a lot for you, and that includes helping you financially. Except
Okay,
for
I'm sorry. Could you cancel my purse very quickly? Oh, this one, okay. Thank you, Judge. My apologies.
I told you I'm willing to do a lot for you, and that includes helping you financially. Except you refuse my help, making me feel guilty for offering. Seriously. You make such a big deal about money, and I don't get why I'm offering to help you get food and water so you don't have to spend money on it. I'm offering to give you $200 every month so that you can pay your rent. And I offer to cover you when we buy tickets to an event. But you say it's not your responsibility. You shouldn't have to worry about it. I know it's not my responsibility. I shouldn't have to worry about it, but you can't make things so black and white. Either it's your responsibility or mine. Either you worry about it or I do. I know you want to be independent, but you need to get it into your big skull that with the financial situation you're in now, nothing will change or get better for a while. You're in a serious debt, and you're still not receiving your paychecks on time, meaning your debt will only get worse. I'm offering to help you out so you don't have to stress so much. Because seeing you stressed and punch yourself and probably sit there looking like you've lost all hope takes a lot out of me too. Your pain becomes my pain, and your problems which are causing your pain become mine too. That's how a good, strong relationship is supposed to work, right? I worry about you and worry about me, and we fix each other's problems as best as we can. Where your reaction to all this, and the fact that you never want to talk about what's bothering you makes me want to stop caring. Let me tell you, not giving a shit about someone other than myself is one of my best or worst, depending on your opinion, qualities. I consider myself apathetic because usually I can't or don't bother relating to someone else's pain. So I can't and don't want to help them. Usually if I see someone struggling, I just say, oh, well, sucks to be them, and shrug. I don't relate to other people's pain, which makes me not care about them. And I promise you, I'm very good at that. There's a reason I'm able to go against my parents' wishes so often. It's honestly because I don't relate to their pain, so I really don't care. Yes, it's cold. Too bad. I'm a cold person on a daily basis, but with you, that's different because I legit care and want to help you get out of, or at least manage the situation here. I don't want to see you upset or stressed or angry. I understand that you won't change your financial situation by getting another more stable job. TBH, I'll never fully understand why you won't leave your dad's business, even though for us fucks you over on a daily basis. Probably because I can't believe that your dad didn't try and warm you up about a shitty piece of waste for us is. I know my dad would never have let me take such a job working for such a dishonest firm. Even if I would have been making decent money, so I'm offering to help you manage it, but you refuse, and it makes me want to just curl up and sit there, apathetic to your situation. Is that what you want? For me not to care? Because if you keep this up, that's exactly what you'll get. Eventually, I'll just say, oh well, and go on with my life, not bothering to even look at you as you struggle on through years. And you close up when you have a problem. You don't want to talk about it. What does WTF, dude? For someone who preaches about how having conversations is what a relationship needs to be healthy. You sure pull yourself up pretty well when you have a problem. Getting you to talk about what's bothering you is like pulling teeth. I know when you're out, when you're put off because your body language doesn't lie. But here's the difference. Unlike me, who admitted to not talking about my problems often, you preach about how it's important that that's what we do. Yet when the wave of issues actually hits you, you react like me. You go sulk in a bottom of the corner all by yourself. Not saying anything until I ask you one other time, though, what's bothering you? You know that makes me not want to talk to you, right? That just makes me want to stay the fuck away from you. And it makes me feel apathetic to your problems. You really want me not to care, don't you? But as I said before, keep this up and you'll get it. You also hate it when I ask you to explain yourself. You claim it's because I don't trust you. But here's what it is, really is. What it really is. I ask for explanations when it seems as if the story doesn't add up. For example, when you went to scuba diving, you told me you'll dive down at 12 p.m. and each dive lasts 30 minutes. Then you text me at 1:30, an hour later, when you were allegedly supposed to finish diving. So of course I questioned you about it. You told me, and you close up when you have a problem. You don't want to talk about it. What the F, dude? For someone who preaches about how having conversations is what a relationship needs to be healthy, you sure pull yourself up pretty well when you have a problem. Getting to talk about what's bothering you is like pulling teeth. I know when you're put off because your body language doesn't lie. But here's the difference, unlike me, who admitted to not talking about my problems often. You preach about it so important that that's what we do. Yet when the wave of issues actually hits you, you react like me. You go self-tormental all by yourself.
Is that the last page of it, or can you find the end of it? I think from Chris Grant might have, might be double printed at one spot.
You also hate it when I ask you to explain yourself. You claim it's because I don't trust you, but here's what it really is. I ask for explanation when it seems the story doesn't add up. For example, okay. Never thought you lied to me. I was just questioning why the story didn't seem to make sense. Same with when you had to do the gutter job at work. You told me it'll take you just about 3 hours to install the gutters with your friend. But I didn't receive a text from you until like 10 p.m., way past the time you get off work. So I asked about it, and you answered with a story that made sense. I only asked for an explanation when something seemed off, but never in those situations did I accuse you of lying. My logic is innocent until proven guilty, which is exactly what it means. I will consider you innocent until I prove that you're guilty. I will believe your words until I prove that you lied to me. That's how I've always been, and that's how I'll stay. But just know that I don't ask for explanation because I automatically think you're lying or to hurt you. I ask because I want to clarify your own words, that's all. I don't want to be tied down, and I can't do that to myself. I must go over life, and possibly that well-paying job takes me. I'm not saying I'm tied down to a job because I don't have one yet. I am right now because of school. But that's over in 4 years, but you will be tied down for the rest of your life, and you're okay with that. If you don't want to change it, you can, but you choose not to. And the worst part is, you won't bother looking for a solution. Does this relationship really mean nothing to you? Are you willing to throw it all away, or the fact that you'll forever have to life and work in New Jersey? Because I understand you being tied down to your kid. I actually respect you for being in his life. But with my proposed solution, you will still be very much in his life, and actually so will I. I'll be in his life as much as you will be, so what's the problem? I've been meaning to write this for a while because writing is the best therapy. I hope you understand me better with this information, but with this informal but honest piece.
And that was from September 1st, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that would be about 10 weeks into the relationship?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that also right around the time, that's your understanding, when Ms. Stensky left for college?
Yes.
I don't think all there's going to be. So based on what you saw online, did you want to speak with Ms. Stensky again?
Yes, definitely.
And did you schedule an appointment to have her return to Haddon Township?
Yes, I did.
How did you get in touch with her?
I contacted her.
On her telephone?
Yes.
And did she agree to come back and give a statement?
Initially, she did.
And did you once again make arrangements to assist her with transportation?
Yes, I did.
And were the arrangements similar to the last time? She'll train in, have some detectives pick her up?
Yes, ma'am.
I think you also indicated that one of the other things that you wanted to take care of that day was to start canvassing in the neighborhood for video surveillance, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And which locations did you go to initially?
We went to 25 Cooper, 127 Vesper, and we canvassed the surrounding neighborhoods.
Okay. With regard to 25 Cooper, where was that located in relationship to the defendant's building?
Approximately half a block away.
And they had a functioning video system?
They did.
And did they agree to allow surveillance footage to be downloaded?
Yes.
Or was there anything of any evidential value on there?
No.
Now, where's 127 Vesper located?
It backs up to the rear of where Brendan was found. It's right, it backs up right to the woods. That is the woods.
Okay, is it the home that's closest to where Brendan's body was found?
Yes.
And did they also have a video surveillance system?
Yes, they did.
And did they permit you to view it?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you see on the video system?
There were several camera angles, and one in the back actually had covered the rear of the yard. However, it didn't extend past the fence line.
Was there anything of evidential value for you on that footage?
No.
I'm going to ask you to look ahead to further that day around 2:30 in the afternoon. What did you do that afternoon?
We met with Lisa Creato and David Creato Sr.
Okay, the defendant's parents?
Yes, ma'am.
And was anyone present with them?
Yes, defense attorney.
Was it Mr. Cucino?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the purpose of having them come into the Haddon Township Police Department?
To provide DNA samples.
Okay. And did they agree to do that?
Yes, they did.
And did you execute essentially the same consent form you did with the previous six individuals that you swabbed?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, I would move 168 and 169 into evidence.
Yeah,
Mr.
present to the early stipulation of the evidence.
And did you collect buccal swabs from both Mr. and Mrs. Creato?
Yes, I did.
Did you take a statement from Mr. and Mrs. Creato at that time?
No, I did not.
And did you ever get to interview Julie Stensky again that day?
No, I did not.
Why not?
She had representation at that point.
Did she cancel the appointment?
Yes.
And she canceled the appointment for that day, but did you ever have an opportunity to speak with her again, ever?
No.
Did you conduct any additional interviews that day? And we're still on October the 14th.
Yes, ma'am.
Who did you speak with?
We spoke with Steve Lazary. He reported seeing a suitcase around 6 o'clock in the morning.
The FedEx driver?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And who else did you interview?
Rachel Krause, she lived, I believe, off of Cooper Street, and she observed some suspicious activity around the time that 911 call came out.
And what was that activity?
It was people responding to the residents. I believe it was family and friends.
Okay, did she give you on a specific time that she thought she saw something going on up there?
I believe it was 6 or 7.
Did you have any contact with Sam's side of the family on the 14th?
Yes, I did.
Tell me about that.
I wanted to drop off a BCCO packet to Samantha at her residence.
What's a BCCO package?
It's a victim's crimes compensation packet for services. If they can't afford funeral costs, the state can help them with that.
Okay, to have information about counseling and other services that are available?
Yes.
And who was that packet given to?
Samantha Donato.
And was her boyfriend, Matt or William, present at that time?
Yes, he was.
Did you make any requests of William Holschuh while you were there?
Yes, I did.
What did you ask him to do?
I asked him to come down to Haddon Township Police Department and provide a statement.
Did he agree to do that?
He did.
And did he give you a statement?
Yes, ma'am.
On Thursday, October the 15th, so Thursday of that same week, how did you continue with the investigation on that day?
We We were, at that time, going to execute a second search warrant at 103 Cooper Street.
Okay. And was that the first time that you had been in the defendant's apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
And who executed that search warrant?
Myself, Detective Quinn, and additional detectives.
Okay. Who was the additional detective from the prosecutor's office?
Sergeant King,
And who was there from the crime scene unit?
I believe Detective Gerson.
And what were you looking for this time?
Based on the photographs that were taken on October 13th, we noticed like some suitcases, a suitcase in the apartment, as well as pillows. I believe that was the items that we were interested in.
Okay, why were you interested in the pillows?
Based on the defendant's statement that his son didn't want his pillow, we thought it was necessary to collect that as evidence.
Did you, did you receive, or did you have an opportunity to review some phone records that you had obtained via a communications data warrant?
Yes, ma'am.
And whose phone records did you review?
David Creato, Listenski.
All right. And who was the service provider for the account that the defendant was on?
Verizon.
And how many parties were on that plan?
I believe it was 4.
And who were the 4 people?
David Creato Sr., Lisa Creato, Sarah Creato, defendant.
Okay, so like a family plan, all on one plan, correct?
Yes.
And who was the server for Julia Stensky's cell phone?
T-Mobile.
And who was Julia Stensky's cell phone registered to?
Her father, Gary Stensky.
Right, now, how is the information that you get from the phone company,
Yes.
how is that different than the information that you get directly from a device itself?
They send different data. They actually will send cell site locations and additional data that we use.
Okay, and what is the cell site location?
Cell site location is where a tower is, where the phone pings off.
Okay, and that can give you the location of the cell phone?
Yes.
And can that data be plotted?
Yes, it can.
Can locations be plotted?
Yes.
And which agency normally handles the plotting of cell site location based on the tower information?
The FBI.
Okay, did you contact FBI Special Agent Bill Shute and ask him to look at the data you received from both the defendant's phone and Julie Stensky's phone?
Yes, I did.
And when did you have communications with him about doing that?
The following day.
Okay, and on this date, on the next day, or I'm sorry, let me back up a little bit. On that same day, did you have an opportunity to travel to the train station, that's at the Trenton Hamilton train station?
We actually went to the Broadway station in Camden.
Okay.
When they had access to all the surveillance cameras to New Jersey train.
Okay, and did you ask them if they could pull some video for you from the Hamilton station?
Yes, we did.
Were they able to do that?
Yes, they did.
What were you looking for?
We were looking to corroborate Julie Stensky and David Creator's statements that he dropped her off at the train station at approximately 6:43 on October 12th.
And were you able to do that with the video footage you received?
Yes.
We are currently loading that, so I'm going to keep moving on. And just for the record, that's going to be State's Exhibit number 176. And you've previously had an opportunity to view State's Exhibit 176, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and, my apologies, Judge, this one requires you to download a player every time we play. I know you can't see it because it's loaded in. Basically, Detective, I have one envelope in hand of 176 dollars. We were marking evidence together last night, correct?
Yes.
And at that time, did we mark the video that you retrieved from the New Jersey Transit Police?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
was that the video you observed from the Trenton Hamilton train station that you were interested in?
Yes, ma'am.
And it's from the morning of October 12th, correct?
Yes.
That was Columbus Day? Judge, with that, unless there's an objection, I would move it into evidence.
No objection.
We'll fight for the jury.
No objection.
first clip?
Yes.
And Detective, I'm gonna ask you to tell us what you see in this video.
Yes, you'll see a black Chevy Silverado approaching with, looks like windows in the rear.
Okay, what's the time on this?
6:44.
AM, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what do we see there?
You see the defendant's girlfriend next to the passenger side at the train station.
And am I correct that you could be putting a backpack on as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can we see the second clip, please? What are we looking at here?
The entrance to the train station.
And do you recognize that individual?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is that?
Julia Stenson.
And the timestamp on that is at 6:45. Can we see the third clip? Do you know what area this is in the train station?
Yeah, it's the concourse. It's at the top.
Is that the same individual, Ms. Stensky, in the concourse?
Yes, ma'am.
And for the record, the timestamp on that is 6:45. And the next clip, please. Where's this location?
This is the platform.
And again, we saw the female with the backpack, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And the next clip shows what?
Stairwell.
And that leads down to the platform where the trains are?
Yes, ma'am.
And again, Ms. Stensky with the blue backpack, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And where are we here?
This is showing the train that she gets on. You'll see at the top of the screen, it's hard to make out, but she does enter the train at the top of the screen.
And the last clip?
This is the train taking off. So she's at the top of that screen up there.
So the last clip was of Ms. Stensky getting on the train?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you advised that the train left the platform on time?
Yes.
Read the lights, please. All right, Detective, on Friday, October the 16th, so we're just a couple days out from locating Brendan in the water, were you trying to make contact, you or members of the homicide unit trying to make contact with someone at Pace University in New York?
Yes.
And what were you looking for?
To confirm swipe times or some evidence to show that she was at school.
And did you eventually obtain information from Pace University security regarding swipe times for her dorm entries?
Yeah, we were initially given verbal swipe times.
Okay, was that followed up with documentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Who did you receive that documentation from? Who was assisting you?
Director Tom Treslin,
And what's he the director of?
Pace Security.
And what time period were you interested in?
We were interested in Monday morning, October 12th, and Tuesday morning, October 13th.
And can you just, you and I are using the term swipe times. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Sure, swipe time is each student has like an ID and they'll swipe it in. There's actually an area that enters the dorm that she has to swipe her ID, which will have a digital signature, digital timestamp when she entered the dorm. There's also, as she gets up to her dorm, there's actually, she has to swipe into the dorms. That also triggers another swipe time timestamp.
And those are all documented, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And on this same day, did you and other detectives also begin to review some of the digital data that was starting to come in as a result of various authorizations and subpoenas that you had prepared?
Yes, ma'am.
At that time, was a search of the 3 laptops that were seized during the initial search of the apartment. Was that authorized?
Yes, it was authorized that day.
Okay, and were you also requesting information with regard to Facebook accounts?
Yes, I was.
Whose Facebook accounts were you requesting information for?
Initially gave you Creato and Julie's Testifying.
Okay, and did you also request information for a Tumblr account?
Yes, I did.
And that's that blog that we discussed earlier, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you request information for anyone else's cell phones?
Yes, Lisa Creato, David Creato Sr., and Sarah Creato.
Also on this date, did you attempt or were you able to collect any additional video surveillance?
Yes, we collected additional surveillance from 25 Cooper Street.
The same house as before?
Yes.
Did you broaden the area that was being, or broaden the time frame that was being looked at?
Yes, it's on Cooper Street, where the defendant lived. So
Okay.
that was a primary focus.
And other than that house that was located at 25, were there any other functioning video surveillance systems on Cooper Street?
No, there was not.
Did you have any more success with the business area on Haddon Avenue where Cooper Street ends at the opposite end of the park?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And did you have an opportunity to review a number of surveillance videos that were stored by various businesses up there?
Yes, ma'am.
And which businesses did you get video from?
Cinco Gas, Coke Liquor, Severino's, Pasta Italian Restaurant, Ace Hardware, and the West Montsville line.
And of those businesses, which ones were the closest to Cooper Avenue, Cooper Street?
That would be Cinco Gas and, I'm sorry, we also, Keg and Kitchen as well. Keg and Kitchen was close to Cooper Street.
And on all that video surveillance that you reviewed, was there anything of any evidential value that showed the other end of Cooper Street with anything going on that night?
No, just regular activity.
Are you aware that there is a church directly across the street, almost directly across the street from the defendant's parents' home?
Yes.
Were they asked to provide any video surveillance that they might have?
Yes, it wasn't functioning.
Okay, based on all this info, all the video that you collected, Detective, we don't have this uploaded on the big screen. I'm going to show it to you. This is State's Exhibit number 174. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
Is that a map that you created?
Yes, ma'am.
And does it show where the defendant's apartment was located?
Yes, it does.
And how did you note that on the map?
I put DC.
Okay, those are his initials, correct?
Yes, Creato.
And does it also note where Samantha Donato's home was
Yes.
located?
With an S.
Okay. And then there are a number of V's that you wrote in on there. What do those V's indicate?
That indicates video.
Okay, and those are all the locations you collected video from?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I know there's only two places that appear to be residences. What were those two addresses?
25 Cooper Street and 127 Bessemer Avenue.
And does that map that you created fairly and accurately show all the relevant locations with regard to video surveillance?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you remove that into evidence?
Okay. No objection being made.
Okay, Detective, I'm going to ask you to direct your attention to Saturday, October the 17th.
Yes.
At that time, had you obtained authorization to search the 3 laptops that were recovered from the apartment? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, who conducts that forensic extraction?
A high-tech crime unit.
And how long does that take?
Due to the vast amount of days, it took over 24 hours.
Were all 3, was the data from all 3 laptops reviewed at that time?
On Sunday, yes.
Or the following day?
Yes.
Okay, do you know which detectives reviewed it?
It was Detective Nicola, Detective Malone, and Detective Robinson.
Okay, and they're all detectives with the high-tech crimes unit and prosecutor's office, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Did they report record anything of any evidential value to you?
No.
And did you yourself at a later time review all 3 laptop extractions yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Based on that review, did all 3 laptops belong to the defendant?
No.
Who did they belong to?
His friend Kevin Keys and his girlfriend Julia Stensky.
And the third one appeared to be his?
Yes.
And when you did that review yourself, which was of course later in time, did you see anything of any evidential value?
No, I did not.
We've heard testimony a few times about the black pickup truck that the defendant was operating. You familiar with that truck?
Yes, ma'am.
And what kind of a truck was it?
It was, I believe, a 2013 Chevy Silverado
And who was it registered to?
to the defendant's father.
But what was your understanding of who was primarily operating the vehicle in the days before and leading up to Brendan's death?
The defendant.
Are some Chevys equipped with a system that tracks movement of the vehicle and can provide assistance when requested?
Yes, ma'am.
What's that system called?
OnStar?
And did you make any inquiries with regard to determine if the vehicle had an active OnStar account?
Yes, I did.
Did it?
Yeah, no, it did not.
It had been terminated the previous year, correct?
December 21st, 2014.
Okay, Detective. On Monday, October the 19th, did you seek additional authorization for various accounts, this time pertaining to Sarah Creato?
Yes, I
And
did.
she's the defendant's sister, correct?
Yes.
Which accounts were you authorized to examine?
YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.
And did you review all of those accounts?
Yes, we did.
Anything of any evidential value with regard to this case?
No.
Did Sarah Creato ever come in and give you a statement?
No.
Did you conduct additional interviews on that Monday?
Yes, I did.
Who did you speak with?
I spoke with Danielle Collins and Jason Collins.
And they are Sam's parents, correct?
Yes.
On Wednesday, October 21st, were you able to interview the defendant's parents?
Yes, I was.
And where did that occur?
That occurred at the Canyon County Prosecutor's Office.
Both gave statements?
Yes, ma'am.
Did they do that together or separately?
Separately.
Now, Detective, I'm going to skip to the end of that week, which would be Friday, October the 23rd. All during this time, all during this first 10 days, since the defendant reported his son missing, was the digital data that was coming in from various sources being reviewed?
Yes, it was.
And can you just give the jury an idea of how much information was coming in?
It was a tremendous amount. It was probably over 30,000 PDF files for Facebook alone, which the PDF is a digital page we review, and that's how it's sent through Facebook. We were also reviewing 17,000 text messages on the defendant's cell phone.
Of the more than 17,000 messages on the defendant's cell phone that you reviewed, how many of those messages were between the defendant and Julie Stensky?
Approximately 9,400.
Did you have any assistance with reviewing all that data?
Yes, every homicide detective could assist us as well as the high-tech crime unit.
Now, based on what you observed on the defendant's iPhone 6 extraction, did you seek additional authorization for other accounts that you had noted on his phone?
Yes.
Okay, what accounts did you request information for?
For his Facebook and his Snapchat.
Did you also request Snapchat information for Julia Stensky?
Yes, I did.
And can you tell us what Snapchat is?
It's a social media site. I wouldn't say it's similar to Facebook, but basically when you open the interface, it shows you can take a picture and you can post it or send it to your friends. You can also send messages. There's also stories as well that you can click onto and share with your friends as well.
And did you receive those records from Snapchat?
Yes, I did.
Do you recall when they came in?
The following day.
Did you conduct additional interviews on that date? We're still on Monday, October 26th.
On Monday, October 26th. Can I refer to my report, ma'am?
Did you have an opportunity to speak with Kevin Keys on October 26th?
Yes, I did.
Who's Kevin Keys?
Kevin Keys is the defendant's friend.
And where does he live?
He lives in New York.
Was it your understanding he had been here locally on Columbus Day weekend?
Yes.
Okay, and what did you want him to do after you spoke with him on the telephone?
I wanted him to come down with his girlfriend, provide a statement, and arrange to meet 2 days later.
All right. And what was his girlfriend's name?
Amanda Forslund.
Why did you want to interview Ms. Forsland?
They both were at David Creato's residence on Sunday, October 11th, for a couple hours.
Now, on this date, still on Monday the 26th, were you made aware that the Crime Scene Investigation Unit had conducted some additional investigation on this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what was the nature of that investigation?
They had a 3-year-old make the walk in almost the same exact socks that Brennan was wearing on the evening of October 12th.
And did you yourself participate in that in any way?
No, I did not.
You were just advised of the results?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to ask you to direct your attention now to Tuesday, October the 22nd. At any time, actually on Tuesday the 27th, did you meet with the medical examiner, Dr. Gerald Biden?
Yes, I did.
And who else was present for that meeting?
Section Chief Shaw, Sergeant King, and Captain Town was also present.
And can you tell us, what was the purpose of having that meeting with the medical examiner?
We wanted to gather more information, medical information, understand the medicals better. Also, I wanted to ask Dr. Feige regarding his feet and see if there's any wear and tear on his feet.
Okay. Now, in the case of a child death, is it unusual for detectives to have a meeting with the medical examiner?
No, it's not unusual.
Were you ever assigned to the Child Abuse Unit or the Special Victims Unit in the prosecutor's office?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you were dealing with cases that were not fatalities, but that might involve physical injury, would you meet with the treating physicians in those cases?
Yes.
And again, what's the purpose of having the detectives meet with the doctors?
So to better understand the medical evidence in front of us.
Did you conduct any additional data reviews on that same day that you recall?
I believe we were looking at Facebook.
Did the Snapchat data also arrive on that date?
Yes.
And was it also voluminous?
Yes.
And also on that date, did you obtain and review Brendan's school records?
Yes.
On the following date, did you have an opportunity to conduct any additional interviews that were done this time in person?
Refer my query.
Did Kevin Keys and Amanda Forsland travel down to New Jersey to be interviewed?
Yes, they did. They came down that Wednesday. They came down township.
And did both provide you with recorded statements?
Yes.
Now, from this point through the end of October and on into the beginning of November, even the middle of November, can you just generally tell us what was going on with the investigation in this case?
We were, again, looking at the humongous amount of data in front of us. It took us weeks to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, and we had to look at what was on one occasion. We were also receiving tips that we had to follow up with during that time. And again, we were also reviewing our videos from everything.
I'm going to ask you to direct your attention to the middle of November, then Thursday, November the 12th. At that point, what were you doing with regard to the Julia Stensky end of your inquiries?
I was able to ascertain who her roommates were at the time, and also another individual that she was friends with, the patient person.
And did you conduct phone interviews with those individuals?
Yes, I did.
How was it that you were able to learn their identities?
I through subpoena, and I was able to make contact with them.
Okay, and did that require you to work in conjunction with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office?
Yes, ma'am.
Was there some paperwork involved?
Yes.
And was the same true for the sway times that we discussed previously? You were assisted by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office?
Yes.
All right. Did you also, on that date, November 12th, did you also have a conversation with Samantha Donato?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Now, From the time when Brendan was found all the way up until November the 12th, how many meetings did you have with Samantha and her family to discuss the investigation or update her and her family on the investigation prior to the defendant being charged?
Approximately 4 times.
Once the defendant had been charged in the case, did you continue to have meetings with her? Not have meetings with her. Did you continue to have contact with her at the prosecutor's office?
Yes, I did. I had to make arrangements to get her parking and also to welcome over to court due to the media. So yes, I had several interactions with them the days after he was indicted.
Okay, so every time that Sam and her family came to court, you were with them, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Almost every time.
During the course of this investigation and in November, did you ask Sam if she would record a conversation with the defendant?
Yes, I did.
Did she agree to do that?
Yes, she did.
Why did you ask her to do that?
She really didn't have a conversation with the defendant at the time. I think she spoke to him that night or the following day. It was a brief conversation.
Okay, what do you mean she didn't have a conversation with him?
She really didn't get an explanation as to what occurred to her son.
So what was the plan for her to record?
I just asked her if she would make arrangements to meet with David and that I had the ability to record that conversation.
And she agreed to that, correct?
Yes.
So I believe you already testified, but that was going to happen later on that evening?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and where was this going to occur?
At the defendant's residence on Virginia Avenue.
And can you just let us know what the overall general plan was going to be for this?
Sure. We had myself, Sergeant King, Detective Quinn, and 2 other detectives in the area conducting surveillance. Would you like me to go further?
Yes.
She was equipped with a smartphone which had the capability to record conversations and also remotely monitor those conversations for safety. And she was also provided a backup device with a key fob in case for whatever reason there was a malfunction in the equipment.
Who were the parties that were going to be remotely monitoring the conversation?
At the time, it was Lieutenant Talene and Sergeant King were on the phone while this was going on.
And what's the purpose of remotely monitoring it?
Just to make sure that she was safe and that nothing was going on.
And was there a signal of some sort that she was supposed to give if she felt in danger in any way?
Yeah, she was given a verbal distress signal.
Right, was the conversation successfully recorded?
Yes, it was.
And can you describe for us how is the quality of the recording?
I would say the first half is a little muffled at times, and that was from the smartphone. The key fob actually kicked into the second part of the conversation and captured a better quality of the consensual.
And approximately how long is this consensual recording in total?
It's a little around an hour.
Judge, at this time I was going to play the consensual recording. I don't know, it's probably a little early for a break. Would you rather break in the, when we're in the middle of it, or?
Well, you probably know it's just following this on. They have what to do. I mean, Counsel, you're familiar with it.
Yeah, Judge, actually nothing really pops out in my mind.
Take an early break and tee it up and play.
Yeah, and you know what, Judge, actually, for you, I can pass these out and put them on all the jurors' seats.
All right. And members of the jury, we're going to take our action break. Go discuss the case with them yourselves. We'll see you right back here in 15 minutes.
Please rise.